Hello everybody, and welcome to Henry's Kitchen, where today we're going to be making Henry's leafy green power pancakes. I figured it's Sunday, and where I am it's about noon, so why not make something that you could probably eat for brunch, or if it's late night where you are, then you could eat it for a midnight snack. So let's talk a little bit about pancakes. A pancake is a flat cake, often thin and round, prepared from a starch-based batter and cooked in a pan. No one really knows where the term pancake originates from, but archaeological evidence suggests that pancakes were probably eaten in prehistoric times, in prehistoric societies. So let's talk a little bit about spinach and pancakes. And by the way, I can see that there's some questions coming, so I'm gonna be wanting to answer a lot of your questions today. And so spinach and pancakes. Spinach and pancakes, yes. This isn't your typical breakfast recipe, but trust me, once you whip up a batch of these yummy, bright green pancakes, they will be regular breakfast favorite. This happens a lot in cooking culture, especially online, which is more my domain. You'll get people arguing about what is a pancake, what isn't a pancake, and it usually comes down to the more purist approach, and then the people that are a little bit more modern. I mean, I'm a purist in some ways, but I also believe in progress, and I believe in technology. And the pancake, sure, they made it in ancient Greece, and it's been around for a long time. And some people would say that if you're putting spinach in your pancake, you're not making a pancake anymore. I, on the other hand, I'm finding out recently, we're all of society is finding out that these foods like kale and spinach are good for you. They have nutritious value. If you can put them in a pancake and make your pancake a little bit more healthy, I'm not against that. But again, I'm sort of what you would call in the kitchen like a trendsetter or whatever, or somebody who tries to push the envelope forward as opposed to pushing it back. But anyway, enough of that. Let's go ahead and get started making our pancakes. Somebody asked how I like my steaks cooked. I usually go with medium. In fact, I usually go with medium with just about everything. You're always going to be right in that zone. And I'm going to make these pancakes about medium size, and they're going to be cooked to a medium degree on the inside. It's playing it safe. You know, if you start getting to the point where you feel like you know what you're doing, you could probably start getting creative with how, maybe cook your steak more or less, but I like to stick with medium. Okay, so similar to our peanut butter cookies here, I've got 2 bowls, and we're going to do the wet and the dry ingredients, and I know I kind of fucked that up last time, but I'm not going to do that this time. This time it's going to be very, very rigid, because it's I wouldn't say it's dangerous, but it's very risky. You could wind up screwing up your whole dish if you mix up the wet and the dry ingredients. So what we're going to start by doing is we're going to take our large bowl, and we're going to put in 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. So I've got my flour here, and I think I showed you last time that when you're doing these measuring cups, you can't really trust them, because if you put 2 1/2 cups into 1 cup, it doesn't exactly come out correct. So you're going to be a little bit guesstimating here. So what did I say? So it's 1 cup flour, and I want 1.5 cups. So I'm going to take the 1/2 cup And if you're doing this at home and you want to make, for example, twice as many pancakes, you would simply put twice as many ingredients. So for example, Alexa, what's 1.5 cups of flour times 2?
3 cups.
See? So you'd put 3 cups of flour if you want to make 18 pancakes. Okay, so we've got our flour, and now we're going to add our baking powder, of which we have 3.5 teaspoons. And the teaspoon concept works very similarly to the cups. I have no idea if there's a regulating agency over these types of things, or if it varies from country to country, but I do know that if I put 1/2 a teaspoon into a full teaspoon, it's not going to be exactly half a teaspoon. And I was pretty disappointed to find that out, but I ran some experiments. Okay, so we're going to want 3.5 teaspoons of this, so we're going to go ahead and do 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to pull the half one out. I could do 2 quarters, but I'm going to do 1/2 teaspoon. And we got that. Oh, no, almost did too much. That's how it happens. And especially when you're live, it's a little bit of extra pressure. There was a situation that I saw on a TV show where a guy was taking blood from these talk show hosts, and he accidentally injected a dirty needle into one of the talk show hosts, and he wound up getting his doctor license revoked. So this, of course, is nowhere near the stakes of something like that, but it still shows how you can get nervous when you're on TV. Okay, so there we have that. Now we're going to add, we've got our baking powder, our flour, and we're going to do a little bit of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm sorry I don't have the salt ready here. I'm just going to grind some salt into here. I have a salt grinder. I'm going to assume that that's probably about 1/2 teaspoon. And we're going to do 1 tablespoon of sugar. I've got my sugar here. And what did I say? 1/2 teaspoon? No, 1 tablespoon of sugar. We're just getting started. This is a very complicated dish, and as you're going to see, there's going to be some complicated machinery that I'm going to be working with. I'm going to be working with a blender and also a griddle. And these are not for the faint of heart. So I'm going to stir this up a little bit, or sifting, as you call it, when it's dry ingredients. And while I'm doing that, maybe I can look at a couple of your comments here. Had some people ask about the blender. It's because we're going to be doing spinach. I'm just going to give you a little preview. You're going to need to blend that up if you want to put it in your pancake batter. This is not your baby spinach. This is going to be spinach that's going to be very difficult to what's the word? Masticulate or whatever. And then I've had some people ask about sugar in the pancakes. Well, sugar is going to add a little bit of sweetness, and it's going to counteract the salt. As you noticed, I put, we did 1/4 teaspoon of salt, which is the exact opposite of 1 tablespoon of white sugar. So if you ever want to balance out your sugar with salt, you're going to take that proportion. I could have just put no sugar and no salt, and it would have been 0, which would have been the same result, but I don't know. I'm sort of a stickler for doing it according to the directions, and sometimes you don't understand the directions, but it's still a good idea to follow them. What else do we got here? Okay. All right. Well, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our blender. I'm going to put all that stuff aside. Had a question about asparagus. No, as a matter of fact, there was an erroneous situation happening with Twitch where every one of my videos was called Grilled Asparagus, and we at Henry Phillips Enterprises were able to get in there and tackle the situation. Had to make some calls to Twitch headquarters to figure it out, but we eventually were able to pull it off. Okay, so now we've got our high-speed blender, and we're going to add our milk. So in terms of the milk, we want to add 1 1/4 cups. Not sure if you can see this. Also, make sure that your cup is empty, because you can see this is a white cup. And I've had so many times where I had pre-filled it before the session and then poured milk into a full cup and got it all over the damn place. So then we're going to take our quarter, what did I say, 1 1/4 cups milk. So I'm going to put that in the blender. And we're going to do an egg. I'm going to put the milk away so it doesn't go bad. So I've got an egg I'm going to crack in there. Next up, we're also going to put in some melted butter. Alright, I'm going to switch to the different view here. I want to talk a little bit about butter. A lot of times recipes will call for butter, and you're probably thinking, oh, I'll just put butter in the blender, it's going to blend it up. Very important that you want to melt that butter first. I found out the hard way. I've got some butter here that I'm going to put in a little dish. Or, let's see, it's going to want 3 tablespoons of melted butter. And if you look on the butter itself, it's got a thing here where it breaks it down according to the tablespoons, but I took the thing out, so I'm going to guesstimate 3 tablespoons, and we're going to put this in the microwave and melt it up before we put it in our blender, because otherwise you're going to have one messy situation. While I'm doing that, does anybody have Someone says you can neutralize salt by adding vinegar to it. Alexa, is it possible to neutralize your salt by adding vinegar to it?
Here's something I found on the web. According to mylot.com, you can try neutralizing the salt by adding sugar and cider vinegar.
Well, I mean, I gotta say, this is new to me. I am a little embarrassed because I've been in the kitchen for a long time and I never knew that you could neutralize your salt that way. Alexa, does sugar also neutralize your salt?
Here's something I found on the web. According to myfitnessval.com, you can also use sugar instead of salt if you crave sweet, but you need to keep track of how much.
So there you go. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the microwave now. And I'll put it in there for about 30 seconds. Maybe this would be a good time to just really quickly check in on the roast beef cam. This is my cat roast beef, who's currently sleeping, which is good because you don't want to be around when he's hungry and needs to get fed. But he's looking forward to getting some sweet pancakes, I believe. So, all right, here we go. So this butter is pretty melted up. I'm going to go ahead and pour it into our blender. Got a question about coffee. Oh, which reminds me, I'm not full on my coffee, so I'm gonna fill up with you guys. I don't know what time it is where you guys are, but I always like to have a little bit of coffee when I'm cooking. The question is, can you take cold brew coffee and put it in the microwave? Yeah. You can. As a matter of fact, I've done that once. It was a very, very hot day, but I'm one of those crazy people that still likes to have really hot coffee, even if it's a hot day. And I went into this place. It's sort of a little gourmet coffee place that we have in my neighborhood. It's called the Coffee Bean. And you went in there. I went in there and I asked for just a coffee, but they gave me cold coffee, which, you know, I guess it goes down to preference, but I didn't want cold coffee, so I took it home and microwaved it. It made it hotter. I did have to stir it up and do it in 15-second intervals, but you certainly can take a cold brew coffee and you can microwave it, and it tasted pretty good. We have some more coffee questions here. I'm going to show you my coffee. It's black. I like it just black, just like that. To me, if you start adding sugar and cream and stuff like that, if you really have your proportions down, and if you have a measuring spoon or whatever when you're at a cafe or whatever, then sure, but it's just too easy to mess up the proportions. You're going to wind up getting a different cup of coffee every single time if you start experimenting with vanilla, or I'm sorry, pudding cream and all that stuff. Had a question about whether or not you can put your coffee in the oven. Sure. I mean, I usually do stovetop, but yeah, you could put a kettle in the oven if it's oven safe. You can put it in the microwave, as we talked about. And there was a question about the roast. I like dark roast coffee. Again, this is some pretty serious coffee here. Yes, this is a thermal active mug, and you can see that it's changing colors. I used to travel a lot for a living, and that's where I got this mug. But it's kind of cool because you start out drinking from a whole different mug. Okay, we should probably get back to our situation. We've got our butter, we've got our eggs, we've got our milk. Oh, now the most important part, our spinach. So I hope you guys like healthy pancakes, because that's pretty much what's going to be happening here today. Trying not to get it all over the place. This is frozen. By the way, the recipe doesn't say how much spinach to put in there, which is unfortunate, but that's kind of what you get when you're surfing online to try to get your recipes. But what I'm going to be making here is going to have about 2 times as much flour as we have. So I'm going to have 2 2/2 of a cup of spinach versus my 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. All right, so let's go ahead and start blending this bad boy up. I just need to find the top for my blender. Oh yeah, here it is. Maybe I can expand this here so that you can see a little better. Probably gonna wake up my cat roast beef here, unfortunately, but whatever. Here we go. And I'm gonna go ahead and put this on liquefy, I guess. all these buttons really do the same thing. They blend. I've got stir, chop, mix, puree, liquefy. These are all what you call synonyms. They all mean the same thing. Why there's a different button for each one, I'm not sure, but I'm going to go ahead and just pick button number 5 here, which is puree. Not sure if you can hear that at home. Okay, so let's go ahead and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pour this mixture into our larger bowl of dry ingredients. I'm going to get some kind of a towel here because this is starting to get a little bit messy. Let's see how we're doing with, I want to make sure I didn't wake up roast beef. Looks like he's still sound asleep, so that's kind of nice. All right, so we're moving right along here. We're done with the blender, which is great. And now we're going to put our wet ingredients into our flour, like so. Pour the blended mixture into the flour and whisk to combine. So we're just going to whisk it up. And there's going to be some considerable whisking going on here. So I've got my whiskers. As you remember, last time I tried to do it with the machine, but it kept falling out. So this time I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way, which is by hand. It's probably the more accurate way to do it anyway. So this would be a good chance for me to look at some of your comments here. Let me know if anybody has any more questions. It says something about... Oh yeah, I'm in the process of trying to get... We've got quite a few questions here. What's my favorite type of cheese? Definitely Swiss, because it's got the holes in it, which makes it less calories, but it's still tasty. Of course, you could just cut holes into any kind of cheese that you're doing if it's... my favorite food overall, probably peanut butter cookies, and I wouldn't have said that before a couple weeks ago, but the ones that we made here were pretty damn good. But there was a question earlier. Oh, my favorite TV show? Definitely Law and Order. I like all the Law and Orders. I don't know if you guys are all familiar with this show, but it's basically law, meaning the first half hour of it is that they're enforcing the law, and then there's order in the second half, which is the courtroom drama. So you get a nice combination of like a police show and a courtroom drama. It's pretty genius, actually. Any more? Let's see. I think I have a question about anime. I wish that I knew more about anime. I've only seen it in the corner of my eye every now and then when I'm browsing Twitch and these types of things. But if you have anime things to share, please do. Somebody asked if I watch House. Yeah, House is a fantastic show. You can actually learn a lot about medical science by listening to Hugh Laurie, the star of that show. I'm being asked why I'm not using a regular whisk. I thought these were whisks. That's kind of what I was assuming. I don't really understand that question. Oh, I guess that there is more of a manual kind of a whisk. And yes, now that you mention it, I think I've used that one in the past. Why did I use these? Yeah, we're being asked questions about the mixer. I'm currently in talks to try to get my money back. Unfortunately, the warranty on it had expired. But literally every time I put this thing in the mixer thing and I turned it on, it would fall out, and sometimes it would fall out at great force. And I'm talking to them on the phone saying, listen, I could end up killing a cat or something with this. I don't want that kind of blood on my hands, and I don't think you guys do either. So we're in talks to try to get at least a settlement of some sort. You know, the whole thing cost $29, so if they could go up to $19 as a reimbursement just to keep me as a customer, even though I wouldn't buy it again, then that would be okay. Okay, so it looks like our batter is pretty well mixed up at this point. Now we're going to start getting into the griddle. I need to do a little bit of setup here, and I know that there's some people that are purists, but I'm going to show you an exclusive Henry's Kitchen video, one that you may not have ever seen, called Fish Larb. And maybe you can enjoy that. Just kick back, have a couple sips of your coffee, and I'm going to get the griddle all set up here. And we're going to get going. So just if you're following at home, I've got my batter all ready to go. And I'm just going to show you a little bit of this fish larb video. I know you're not going to be making this at home because you're making pancakes, but it might be something that you can kind of think about for a future. All right, here you go. Hello, and welcome to Henry's Kitchen, where today we're going to be making Henry's authentic street-style fish larb. As a professional chef, I'd say the question that I get asked the most is, larb? What the hell is larb? Well, fish larb is very similar to chicken larb, but you're using fish instead of chicken. Let's get started. Oh, and I'm a little worried about roast beef. He just got his blood work back, and the doctor thinks he might have a thyroid problem, which is fine. It's totally treatable and everything, but I think it just started making him think a lot about his own mortality and just how long we have on this earth and what happens afterward and all that. And he's just been a little introspective. I'm going to start by dicing the onion. And I actually learned a new technique that's used by street chefs that I'm going to show you here. You start by making several incisions into the side of the onion, like so. Maybe like 10 or 15 cuts. And then you're going to grab the dicing knife and then you just shave off all the parts. And that way you get a perfect dicing. Do the same with the other side. Just make several incisions into the side, like so. And then shave it off. See? Perfect. Mince the garlic. Now let's destem the cilantro, basically just taking the little leaves off, leaving the stems. You know, there's a saying in Laos that if you're a good person, then fortune will smile upon you. And if you're a great person, then it will literally laugh in your face. Okay, so now we're going to take about 1 cup of regular brown rice and we're going to turn it into a powder. We're going to put it in the blender. Now I like... Okay, so now these are powdered. Let's just set these side ingredients aside. with our side ingredients set aside, we can start working on our main ingredient, the fish. Just remove the packaging from our fish. Ow! Son of a bitch. Try to be careful when you're opening your fish package because the lid is very sharp. Fuck. Just stir it up a little. Add in some soy sauce. Okay, well, let's add in our side ingredients now, starting with our diced onions, our minced garlic, our destemmed cilantro, and finally our rice powder. So let's just let that simmer for about 10 minutes while we prepare our lettuce cups.
Ferris wheels beneath skies of blue, and bicycles built just for two, and candlelight and Long Beach walks, and puppies stuffed in Christmas socks. A world of love that I'll never live in, crying all alone in my kitchen, suffering.
Okay. So the last step is that we're going to set up a makeshift assembly line where you're going to be grabbing a lettuce cup and opening it up so you can fill it with your larb. And then you're going to set it on a separate plate for serving. These lettuce cups are a little narrow, but you can sort of improvise. And top it off with a little mayo. And there you have Henry's authentic street-style fish larb. I think I'll have one right now. Interesting. Well, thanks for joining us here on Henry's Kitchen, everybody. And I'm very happy to announce that in about a month, it's going to be 10 years since I started making kitchen videos. And I owe that to the people on Patreon/Henry's Kitchen for their support in keeping the kitchen dream alive for a full decade.
Help me make it through the...
Hello. Okay. Thanks for watching that. I also want to give a shout out. I've had some wonderful people reach out to me in terms of doing some moderation for the chat feed, and specifically Fawcan and Dingo Bop, and also Dr. Flanges. And I'm not sure if you can see them or not, but there's other ones who have offered, like Bacchus and Melon and Hottest Bear and Dagaji, who I think I know from Patreon. And I'm sorry if I'm missing anybody, but I just want to say that I'm very appreciative, because I know that those first couple of times it was a little bit of a free-for-all. And if you want to submit an application to be a moderator, you'll want to get it signed by a notary and sent to Henry Phillips Enterprises, New York City, New York, at the top of the penthouse suite of the Empire State Building. No, I honestly, just go ahead and hit me up. I understand it's the more the merrier when it comes to the moderation thing, and but I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for the help here, because it's obviously, for me, the only thing I really want to do in my life is cook. And unfortunately in life you have to do other things like taxes and child support and alimony and bail and paying for your relatives' GoFundMes and things like that. And it gets in the way of the noble pursuit of the culinary arts. And so I appreciate that people are helping me with some of that stuff so that I can really just focus on cooking, which is what I'm going to do right now. So let's go ahead and I've got a very, very hot griddle here, as you can see. And I am going to start taking our spinach pancake batter, and I'm going to use I got a question. I've had a couple questions about working out. I used to work out a lot when I was in my teens, which was about 33 years ago. I like to do some light exercises around the home. Sometimes I'll put a rope with some tin cans in a paper bag and then put that around my shins, and then I'll lift those, and I think those are called some kind of leg lifts or whatever. But in terms of bench pressing, other than just the strenuous activity of trying to get up in the morning or trying to get through your day, I don't really do a lot of heavy lifting. So the best way that you're gonna, if you're not doing a workout like I'm not, eating stuff like this is going to make it look like you work out. Let's just put it that way, because this is some serious protein, I think. Okay, so I've got a spoon here, which is a little bit, it's going to be acting as a ladle. I don't have a ladle, but I'm literally going to be ladling our batter onto our griddle, like so. And I think 1 spoonful is going to be about 1 pancake, generally speaking. And of course, there's a little bit. Alexa, how much batter is 1 spoonful of pancake?
Here's something I found on the web. According to sclair.org, spoon or ladle about 1/4 cup of batter into pan to make 1 pancake.
Okay, so they're going with that 1/4 cup thing. I'm not really sure whether we can trust that or not, but you know, there's so much of what we do in the kitchen that is just left up to your own interpretation. But you know, I know a lot of people don't like that, especially people like myself that are used to doing things by the book. But the reality is that life is like that. And sometimes you have to improvise your way through it. Sometimes you have to BS. I try to keep that to a minimum. But so what we have here is, I'm running out of space a little bit. So I'm trying to use the space in between the pancakes. I've got a question about whether the griddle is on, and the answer is, boy, I sure hope so, because oh no, it's not on. Hold on. Okay, now yeah, that's got a light on now and it's heating up. I'm sorry about that, everybody. I'm not sure how long we're supposed to leave these on, but since it's got to heat up a little bit here, maybe this is a good time to just play a little bit of the Henry's Kitchen game. I finally figured out how to make it so that I've got me up here narrating the game here so that you can see while I'm playing it. Somebody got 98 points on this thing, which I find impossible, and it's Shebaz, but they streamed it, so apparently it's for real. I've never been able to get better than, oh wait, hold on a second, this happened before. I'm gonna start the game over. For people that have never played the game, you're gonna take a typical computer keyboard like this, and you're going to go left and right, and these are really the only 2 controls that you're going to use. So you've got your ingredients coming out of your head there.
Yeah.
You've got jelly,
Peanut butter.
peanut butter,
Yeah.
and bread.
Delish.
And once you've gotten one of each of those things, you've made a sandwich.
Nice.
And I'm going to turn down some of that noise there. But
Sandwich made.
you're basically just trying to collect as many ingredients as possible in the beginning to where you're just making sandwiches. And it starts out a little bit slow, so you can probably get just about every ingredient that comes out. But eventually you're going to have to start choosing which ingredients you go for
Nice.
based on what you're showing a deficit of.
Sandwich made.
Okay, so I've got 6 sandwiches, so you can see I've got a little more jelly than I have the other ones. So I'm probably going to start prioritizing
Sandwich made.
getting bread and peanut butter.
Sandwich made.
If we can have, if we can post the link to the game, that would be great. That way you guys
Awesome.
can play it at home. And I've got a pretty high score on there, but Bumble Vision is higher than me, and Bumble and Shebaz. I just kind of blown away. I don't know if there's a way to hack into the system or something, but they said they streamed it, so we'll have to check that out.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, so they're starting to come down a little bit harder here. So I'm probably going to have to start
Nice.
sort of picking and choosing which ingredients I go for. I'm really short on bread, it looks like. I've got plenty of jelly, so I'm not going to go too far out of my way to get the jelly. I'm just going to focus on bread and peanut butter. But you know, I'm not going to reject jelly if it comes down the pike and I don't have anything else to be doing at that time. But I'm going to be, I'm not going to be going out of my way.
Awesome. Sandwich made. Delish. Great. Awesome. Woohoo.
So Bumble says he's going to come out of retirement.
Awesome.
That's scary because Bumble
Nice.
is really good at this. But Shebaz has definitely, I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Sandwich made. Nice. Peanut butter.
Oh, and then one nice thing is you get a free life. See, now I just lost a life, but you can see up in the top left it says bad. You get 3 of those and then you're done with the game. But I will say that you get a free one once you've hit 30 sandwiches. I have a peanut butter surplus right now, so I'm not going to worry so much about that, but I'm really low on bread.
Awesome. Jelly. Delish.
Oh boy. You know, I just got a question about, okay, I've got the pancakes going here, and they're cooking up pretty good, and I think it's time to flip them, but there's really no way to pause the game, unfortunately, so I'm not sure how to handle that. I guess I'm just going to let them continue to cook. And the game takes about 5 minutes usually to play. Like, this is going to get so hard at some point that it'll be impossible. But let's get some bread, guys. This is ridiculous. I mean, I'm just getting peanut butter and jelly, and sometimes I feel like this game is rigged against me. But like, there's just literally no bread. Okay, now it's starting to come down a little bit. Can you guys smell that? Oh no, I guess you can't smell it, but there's some pancake activity happening.
Sandwich made. Awesome. Sandwich made.
Okay, wow, things are getting scary.
Sandwich made. Sandwich made.
Just need, I need like a whole flood of bread, basically. This is getting really difficult here. This is where it blows my mind that people have gotten into, I mean, 98. I mean, that's just, okay, I have one more life, but that's okay because these pancakes are definitely ready to be flipped at this point. And this game is getting way too hard. Okay, that's it. So I'll go ahead and put HP and enter. And let's look at that. See, look at that. Shebaz. Good luck getting 100. That's 98. Too much cherry up there with 91. A lot of good scores. Bumble Vision is at 83. And then we have a shout out to Nim. Or is that Nim? 83 is pretty good. And Forsen at 82. And then there's me with my lonely Henry way down there. Okay, let's take a look at our situation. I'm going to refresh that and then... Okay, so we've got our pancakes here. I'm going to grab a spatula and we're going to go ahead. I'm going to get an oven mitt as well. And we're going to start flipping these. Wow, they're all kind of joined together as sort of one. Which is interesting. Okay. Oh boy. Shit. Okay, we have a problem. Okay, we seem to be getting it. By the way, this griddle is a bad-ass piece of equipment. I didn't use any grease, any butter or Pam spray or anything, and as you can see, these things came right off there. So, that's good. Uh-oh. We seem to have a roast beef issue. I'm going to let these cook a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and we're going to feed roast beef so that he goes back to sleep. So just give me one moment there. Alexa, how much time left on the timer?
There are no timers set.
Why, Alexa, why are there no timers set? Okay. These are going to cook for a few more minutes, and meantime, let's take a look at some of your stuff here. We've got, I prefer crunchy pancakes. Okay. Crunchy pancakes are certainly something that can be done. It would require putting something crunchy in there. Sometimes you'll see people doing crunchy peanut butter. In that case, I guess you would probably add crunchy peanut butter to your pancakes, and that would give you a more crunchy situation. Okay, somebody said waffles are better than pancakes. You've opened up a can of worms on that one. There's a huge debate going on online. Bigger debate than probably most of the political issues that you'll see that are happening right now. Are waffles better than pancakes? Waffles are a different animal altogether. They contain oil, which make them a little tastier, but pancakes have a little tug to them if they're done correctly, like these probably will be, that waffles don't quite have. But that's a debate I don't want to take a side on because it's very controversial. People get very sensitive. You know what? One good suggestion is let's go ahead and have people vote, waffles or pancakes. And let me remind you that we're making delicious pancakes right here at the moment. So take a look at those and think about the last waffle you had and what would you rather be eating? I think that's a really good question. Let's see if we can do a vote on that. I guess there's a way to make a poll on there. I'm not quite sure how to do it, but let's face it, it's a good way to kill time while we're waiting for these pancakes. You know, another thing, we've got a question here about European pancakes versus American pancakes. I believe European pancakes are made out of potatoes, whereas, as you can see, American pancakes are made out of spinach and flour. potatoes have more potassium and they're probably a little bit more filling. Also, a lot of it is the way that you cut the pancakes afterward. Typically in America, you would cut from the top down across the pancake, whereas European style is to do it horizontally or diagonally if you want to be fancy. But let's face it, it tastes the same overall. But the potato thing is definitely a big part of it. Also start thinking about what song you might want me to close the show with today here, because I'm certainly in need of doing a little waiting while we're waiting for these pancakes to take form, if you will. I'll tell you what. Oh, great question. We have we're going to get to plating very soon, but I'm going to tell you in the meantime that what I like to put on my pancakes is something called black currant syrup, which is French. I'm not sure if that might be a little blurry there, but black currant. This is going to get you a little bit more of a sweet taste, which is going to be needed because remember we neutralized the sugar with our salt. So there won't be any sweetness left. But other than that, just a whole lot of tender loving goodness, and that's the ingredient that you really need for your pancakes. I'm going to wash my hands a little bit here and pick up the guitar and maybe do a little number for you while we're waiting for our pancakes to be completely done. Let's see here. Yeah, we got a request for Christmas song by Jose Suicidio. I believe that is that would be It Doesn't Feel Like Christmas Anymore. I can do a little bit, but that's a Christmas song, so it might not really fit right here in the summertime. Oh yeah, yes. Sorry about that. There's a pile of untouched gifts underneath the Christmas tree. There's a cobweb on the mantle where your stocking used to be. As I sit here broken hearted, weeping neath the mistletoe, holding in my hand a ring that's made of 14-karat gold. And the puppy ate all of the sugar plums, and he threw up all over my lap. I'm spending my Christmas Eve scooping up little pieces of sugar plum puppy crap. And there's a pile of unpaid collection notices scattered all over the floor. And it doesn't seem like Christmas anymore. Alright, that's all I'll do with the Christmas one because it feels a little weird because it's summertime. And what do we think of more during the summer than having fun and celebrating things like birthdays? And this is a song to anybody out there who might be having their birthday. It's called Nobody's Birthday. It's nobody's birthday. No need for candles nor cake. It's nobody's birthday. It was just a big mistake. It's nobody's birthday. No need to uncork the wine. It's nobody's birthday but mine. It's nobody's birthday. Don't pin the donkey on the tail. No tail on the donkey this time today. Nobody's birthday. There's no point in celebrating life when your dreams get washed away. Sorry about these lyrics. It's nobody's birthday, so you can leave all the presents behind. 'Cause it's nobody's birthday but mine. I was actually asked to do this song for a girl named Ashley's Sweet 16 birthday party, and not only could I not remember a lot of the lyrics, but I don't think they liked the song anyway, and I don't think they liked me. I'm still trying to get the $100 that they promised me to perform at that birthday party, and nobody's returning my calls. There'll be no balloon animals, no Chuck E. Cheese, no animatronic singing dogs. There'll be none of that for me. And don't give me any fucking birthday cards. I don't need your sympathy. The Hallmark stores are all closed today. There'll be none of this for me. We're gonna bring it home now. It's nobody's birthday. No need for presents at this time. 'Cause it's nobody's birthday but mine. It's nobody's birthday but mine. Happy birthday to anybody out there who might have a birthday. A couple of things. We've got somebody asking about advice in terms of going through a breakup. Drinking is one thing you can do. It helped ease the pain for me a little bit. I've spent probably half of my life going through a breakup, and then the other half thinking about the breakup that I was going through. So I'm no stranger to the concept of it. But drinking can be unhealthy, so don't do too much of that. I would say cooking. I mean, cooking kind of saved my life in terms of building a skill that I could use at home by myself, and basically saved my life. So I would definitely say cooking. Things like pancakes, which I think are just about ready now. I also saw some people say that they wanted it louder. Were you able to hear that at all? Was the sound okay on the music there? I hope it was. Let's see. Let's take a look at our pancakes here. I think we're just going to call... Oh, I don't know why those didn't get cooked quite as much. Oh boy, this thing's not hot anymore. I think that it might have had an automatic shut-off function for safety purposes or whatever. So that's why this side is not quite as delicious looking as the other side, but it still looks pretty delicious. I'm going to go ahead and plate this, starting with our lower level, which is going to be the largest pancake, followed then by an upper level, and then a third level. My cat roast beef and I are going to have a little bit of a feast today. These look delicious and smell deliciouser, whatever that word is. Let me remove this griddle here and take it out of the way a little bit. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a close-up on that. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but these look to me like some pretty damn good spinach pancakes. And these are going to be nice if you are working out, for whoever was asking. These are going to be a nice way to supplement the carb energy that you're putting out there with the spinach and stuff. And there's going to be some protein in the butter and the flour. And there's also a whole lot of fat in there. And fat is good if you're trying to work out, because it gives you a lot of energy that you can turn into muscle. So let's go ahead and put some of our black currant on top. And what we have here is one delicious Sunday brunch that you can enjoy either with a family or with a loved one, or if you're the person that was asking about a breakup, just enjoy it by yourself while you're watching Law and Order or whatever your favorite show is, House. Couple of questions about topping. Somebody asked about, could you do ketchup on this? I have never tried it. Ketchup tends to have a little bit more of a savory taste, and I like to go a little sweet on the pancakes. Somebody asked about cheese. Well, yeah, cheese pancakes are definitely a thing. I think they call that, it's called a latke or something like that. Sriracha definitely would be something you could try if you want a little kick to it. You could also try to put some jalapeno peppers in there. I would avoid mustard. I think I have been to some Asian fusion restaurants that have a dish that's similar to pancake and mustard. But you got to really know what you're doing if you're going to start combining those types of flavors. I'm going to grab a fork. And I cannot wait to get these things in me. Well, you can definitely taste the spinach. In fact, that's mostly what I'm tasting. There's a slight burnt smell that is interesting, or taste. Next time I might want to experiment with a little bit of cinnamon to sort of, because I will say that spinach taste is pretty predominant and pretty harsh. Cinnamon might cut that a little bit. But for my first time making spinach pancakes, I'd say this is pretty good. Had somebody asked about bananas, and it's interesting that you asked that, because it just occurred to me, I think that bananas were supposed to be part of this recipe, and that part got cut off on my printout of the recipe. But yeah, I believe that when you're putting in your wet ingredients into the blender, you're supposed to also put bananas. This kind of thing happens every now and then. That might be why these taste a little harsh. But the black currant tastes really good, at least. And, cooking is never easy. In some cases, it's extremely difficult, more difficult than being audited by the tax agency or even being in trouble with the law. Cooking can feel like an anxiety nightmare that just never ends. But that's why we have to wake up every morning and rise to the challenge and fight the bully that we call cooking. We have another question here. In terms of whether I've done do some rehearsals for the videos, for this video, I probably should have done some rehearsals. Normally, I'll make the dish probably 30 or 40 times before I actually start running the camera. I just think that's the fair thing to do if you're asking people to watch your tutorials. Yeah, sometimes you'll have to do multiple takes. Things will go wrong. You'll forget to put the oven on. You'll leave it in there for several hours too long. Sometimes you'll forget to put an ingredient in there like bananas or whatever. But these are all just things that those are called kinks, and you work out the kinks basically. And not to be confused with the classic rock band. Am I a breast or a thigh guy? It's funny that you asked that, because I used to be more of a breast person in the early days, and now I pretty much always ask for thighs when I go to the butcher. I just go up there and I say, and if they don't have breasts, sometimes I'll get upset. I'll be like, does anybody here have breasts? Like, what's happening? Okay, so we have another argument. It looks like thighs versus breasts is another thing. Somebody asked to see roast beef. Well, he is happily back to sleep now after having had a little bit of food. I could go wake him up. He's very heavy, so sometimes when I pick him up, and he's very old, I'm worried because he has arthritis. I don't want to hurt him, but I would like to have him in the webcam view here. Okay. You know what? Let me see if I can get roast beef. Come on, buddy. We're gonna go on TV. Okay. I don't think he wants to be up. I think one of the reasons he was so upset right there was that he was in a pretty good sleep, and I woke him up. But I think he probably is back to sleep now. Let's just check. Yeah, he's good now. So, well, everyone, I want to say thank you very much, and thanks to the moderators, and thanks to all of the people in the community that have come forward to help me with this journey and this endeavor. And I'm going to be back on Wednesday at 11 a.m. and I'm going to try to come up with something else. But this one's going to be pretty hard to top, I will say, because they're not tasty, but they're very healthy. And this is a good way to get your spinach. So, as always, thank you very much, and I hope everybody has a wonderful Sunday or Monday, depending on where you are. And I'll see you on Wednesday.